The hard part for us for the longest time was to get past that, oh, it's just for elites. That's the showcase of CrossFit, but that's not what CrossFit is. CrossFit is the everyday people doing it. He's just a dude, he's one of those stories that you hear of, like, you know, came in with just looking for something and has kind of found a home. And that's the type of story that it's not gonna get the views on YouTube. It's not flashy, it's not somebody hitting a 400-pound clean and jerk.
I was just getting stressed out all the time for no apparent reason. My mind's full of my own voice telling me how bad I am. And then it came to a head, like I couldn't talk for a while. I was getting like really, really depressed. Suicidal ideation.
But it's such a cooler story because of a life that has changed and has changed others' lives.
Okay, where do you want to start?
As Rich alluded to, CrossFit Mayhem is made up of some of the world's fittest humans, accomplishing things that, for most of us, only seems possible in a superhero movie. However, for the 99% of you who don't live in Cookeville, you would not have the privilege of knowing that Mayhem is also home to everyday athletes that are, for all intents and purposes, superhumans. They may not be stepping onto the competition floor at the CrossFit Games, but they are impacting lives every day, whether they know it or not. This is the journey of a Mayhem athlete.
Hi, my name is Philip Gentry, Jr. I'm 45 years old. I am a disabled veteran. I have some awesome animals here that I love to death. They greet me every time I come in or wake up or move. Squeak, turn the TV off. Good boys, yes.
Where did you grow up?
Here.
In Cookeville?
I grew up in Cookeville. I've been doing CrossFit off and on for about 10 years. Due to severe anxiety and depression, I am disabled through the state, but it just means I'm a little crazy. Yeah.
We're not talking about Phil's benchmark times. We're talking about Phil's ability to navigate life. We're talking about Phil's ability to connect with people. We're talking about how far he's come as a human being. We're talking about a dude who was on the brink of potentially taking his own life, who is now thriving in an environment. He's the first person that people want to go and talk to, high five and hug when they get in the coffee shop. And that's amazing. That's truly amazing.
It's hard to put into like words who Phil is, other than that's exactly the type of person we want at CrossFit Mayhem.
In Philip's case, he was so worried about everybody, like what everybody thought of him and being around people, that he couldn't see what his full potential was. He was able to do some of these things that he didn't think that he would be able to do. He did the hard part and showed up.
Why don't you just talk about like what a typical day looks like?
Well, my day is pretty basic. I get up, usually because the dogs want to go outside. Settle down, buddy. Squig likes to walk around while he poops. Yeah, he likes to spread it around. Squig loves people. Jojo does too, but he gets tired fast. He's like me. He's just an old man. You're the star of the show, Jojo. Yeah. He's like, I'm done. Come on, let's go inside. Jojo, come on. And then we can come back in and have some coffee and breakfast, figure out what we're going to do for the day, or at least me. They don't do anything. When you get older, you got to add this to your meal prep every week. Now it's turned into a cooking show. Tahine, sponsor me. I like spicy. I think we're done with this. It's really hot right now. 3 to 8. I know I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna go to Mayhem. I have my essentials that I always take to the gym, and it always is a banana. I always have a headband, and I have a bunch, so I like to kind of go ahead and get it figured out what I'm gonna put on. I always make sure I got my water bottle. You gotta stay hydrated because it's gonna get so hot this summer. And then just hang out at the coffee shop too. I like to hang out at the coffee shop about an hour before class. It kind of gets my mind ready to be around people, and all my friends are there, so I just get to hang out for a bit. I don't check on the workout before I get here because I'm gonna do it no matter what. I mean, it's just a workout. You just do it. If it's something that's hard, like today we got thrusters, I won't be doing 95 pounds because that will destroy me. So I might do a little bit over the bar. You just gotta have fun with it. There's a lot of people here. Yeah.
You just stop and
It's normally what I do when I walk in.
I go to the coffee shop with him every day if I'm not working. So he's honestly become one of my best friends.
Well, how old are you?
I know I'm 80-something. 82?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the first thought you have when you walk into the gym?
Where's Philip?
Exactly.
I'm just grateful to know him. I'm grateful he's here. I think he's a big part of the heart of the gym.
I think my favorite thing about him is watching him work out with Hollins. He's so patient with them, so loving, so calm, so kind.
I would not be here at Mayhem if it wasn't for Philip. Like, my highlight of the day is probably sitting at 2 o'clock with him.
20, 16. You doing class too?
Ready teams of 4. Yeah.
And they're gonna work 20 calories off on this bike together, so you can split it up 10 and 10. It's gonna be fast.
I have 4 minutes to do everything in. I'll keep you going on what we're supposed to be doing.
We are starting in 3, 2, 1, go!
The game's back on. I'm reppin' for my city, I'm they backbone. Till the clock stops, we gon' run a gun and bring it back home, let's go. We number one, you know. We go hard, be small. We won't stop, oh no, ain't gon' never stop. From the ground up, we on top, can't take our spot. We march in like a marching band with a game plan on my game face. It's game night, let's be great. Apply pressure, raise the stakes, it's legendary. Make 'em break. We ain't never backing down, we ain't never gonna stop. We gon' take it to the limit, we gon' take it to the top. We ain't never giving up, we ain't never gonna stop. Till the very last second, till we're running out the clock. Never gonna stop to the very last second till we're running out the clock.
Done.
What are the challenging aspects of doing CrossFit?
Mainly for me, it's my weight. Burpees are always hard. Just getting off the ground is just difficult, and it makes you super tired. I've always had problems with my weight and losing it, and it was in junior high that I made my own crazy fad diet. But I didn't have any knowledge of what I should do, so I would just like not eat sometimes, or a lot of times, which was basically skipping breakfast, having Slim Fast, then maybe eating dinner. But yeah, and it still was hard for me to lose weight back then. I think it was about the middle of 2000 when I decided I was going to go in the Air Force. The biggest thing was I had to lose weight to get in. They wanted you at my height to be like 189, and I was just a little bit over 200. Probably took me 4 or 5 months just to get the weight off so I could go in. And that was one of the things I remember in basic that I always kept thinking to myself, is like, you know, thousands of people have done this before me, so I should be able to do it too. I fell off a wall during the obstacle course. My left foot basically went perpendicular to the rest of my leg, and I heard a couple pops. Once I got back to the hospital and they checked everything, I ended up breaking the outside bone on your shin, broke it in half. The 2 bones in your leg at the bottom, they split apart, and then I broke my ankle. So they put a plate to put the tibia back together, and then they just put a bunch of screws through everything else to put it all back together. During that time, while it was broken, right leg already started compensating so much for the left that it started having some issues too. They've gotten almost as bad as the left, and they just hurt all the time too. So,
wow.
Yeah. In 2004, I twisted my ankle and it got infected. where the plates and everything were at. I went to the doctor and he's like, well, everything needs to come out, all the plate and everything. And that was when he realized that they didn't get it close enough to each other, the two pieces of bone. Instead of growing together, they had started growing outward and around the plate. It's got scrapes and stuff all over. We had to scrape the bone off of it just so he could get it out. So it took about 3 years for the bones to actually connect together again. That just made everything worse. Again, that's why I went and saw AJ.
I mean, honestly, right now, this has been 20 years in the making, right? Of Philip having to deal with this. When you have, a pretty catastrophic injury like that, if you don't get the care that you really need afterwards, other things get affected and it starts to build up. Now we're 20 years behind the mark. That doesn't mean we can't make progress, but we know it's gonna be a long process, right? So Philip, drive over that toe again. This one just doesn't have as much, this is dorsiflexion that he's moving into, and this is pretty important, like when you're squatting or doing single leg activities, we want to be able to have plenty of dorsiflexion in this knee, be able to drive over the toe. Another big contributing factor is this big toe here. Like, this thing just does not move. Now, Philip, switch legs for me. So we're doing the same thing here. So you can see how straight this toe is compared to the other one that was kind of clawed up. And then I'm able to lift that thing up off the ground, right? So I want to facilitate what he's doing in here. And if I can play a small part into that and am able to do more in the gym, that's kind of the goal, right? And do more around his house and take care of the puppies. Philip is one of the most selfless people that I've ever met. He talks all the time about how much we have helped him. I mean, you can reverse that, and he's impacted so many people. I mean, we're doing a video on him, for God's sake. Just how much joy every day that he brings into the gym, and doesn't even do it on purpose. Like, doesn't ask for any of it. It's just like, we're approaching him about doing a video about him. It's like, I think that tells you enough. And it's just like, from him going to be scared to come up and ask me for my services for him, to now it's like, he's one of my best friends. I can't believe you made me cry. Mayhem we have an incredible community here. And I think Philip embodies all of that.
When would you say, you noticed that being around people was hard for you?
Around 2011, 2012 was when I started having bad agoraphobia, where I didn't want to leave. It was just a little bit at first, but it got really bad around 2016. That was when I kind of had a mental breakdown. I'd quit that job that I had at the time. I had started painting miniatures as a job, and I realized that I still had a lot of mental stuff going on, a lot. My mind just started, it was just too much noise. I was just getting stressed out all the time for no apparent reason. And then it came to a head, I couldn't talk for a while. That was when I didn't want to be around people I didn't know. I barely want to be around people I did know. It was just the house is my safe space. I felt comfortable at home, and they weren't really sure what was going on. They tested, they thought I might have had a stroke. They did MRIs, they did a bunch of tests, but it was just I didn't know what was going on. And it didn't help that the doctors didn't really know either. I couldn't focus on anything. It was almost like my personality just took a backseat to everything else. I didn't have a lot of control over my emotions. When I was able to start talking again, it was very kind of slurred. That was one of the reasons they thought I had a stroke. I could form the words in my head, but it was like something was stopping them from getting out. And I still have some of the issues. I had a lot of extra movements, kind of like I'm doing now with this hand.
We would call those bad brain days. And sometimes they were really bad. It was to the point where he would kind of go nonverbal again. He would pull into himself, and it's he would go on autopilot, and he would just repeat the same phrase over and over. And during those times, it would be really scary because you just never know how somebody processes those things.
It was a feeling of just losing all control. Like you're just kind of forming some bad habits to kind of fight the depression, I guess. But basically it came down to some self-harm issues, and which I guess isn't very normal for a lot of folks, but it just, people don't understand why you do it. But for me, it was, if I was getting like really, really depressed, suicidal ideation and stuff like that, the self-harm would kind of short circuit, I guess. Before it would get too bad, it was like, it would give me something, I guess, focus on besides all the craziness going in my head. It became a bad habit there for a while, but it's gotten a lot better than it was. So when I moved back here, my dad was going to the life classes at Mayhem. Usually about twice a week, he would come get me and take me to the life class with him. And that's how I started at Mayhem. I did that for a good year and a half. And then Mom got sick again in 2019. She had issues with diabetes. She had heart issues. She was just kind of going downhill. She just, she didn't really eat healthily, and she just stopped moving, doing any type of physical exertion. I remember it was Father's Day. She ended up back in the hospital. It was really bad at that time, and she barely knew what was going on. She could talk a little bit. I stayed there for a few hours. Of course, I was hoping that it'd just be like all the times before where she ended up, recovering enough to come home or something like that. But this time it wasn't. And I remember getting a call. She had actually gone and they had to resuscitate her. During that time, she was barely awake. And I ended up staying with her for that week at the hospital, and just watching her, I'm like, I don't want to end up in the same situation, just being sick all the time. And she never got any better. Organs were shutting down. The doctor got us all together and had us make a decision at the end of the week. That was it. It was probably the most difficult time. I remember holding her hand those last few moments. And so yeah, we let her go then. And when I left the hospital, I'm like, I'm going to make it more of, I guess, a bigger part of my life of being or trying to be as healthy as I can. Because when you stop moving, you stop living. We're made to move. You have to do something, or you just end up like Mom, just in a hospital room. I don't want to have to put that onto other people around me either, having to take care of me and stuff. And then I decided that the 2 o'clock class was like my perfect time for me. Of course, Josh Malone is the coach, and that's where I started to get to know Josh too.
With somebody like Philip, just stepping foot into the gym can be extremely scary. Being around people was something that he could handle a certain amount, and then he was like, okay, I've had my fill today. And so he started showing up, and we would heavily modify workouts. He's constantly, like, because of his past injuries, he deals with a good amount of pain on a daily basis. So we always try to like push the limits, but within reason. Philip has gone through a transformation to where he was coming 1 to 2 times a week, and then I may not even have heard from him for like a week. I would do check-ins and say, hey, how you doing? And I would get an okay. And so it went from this 1 to 2 days a week to where he's coming 4 to 5 days a week. He's gotten to the point now where he goes and does the at-home workouts with us.
We love our at-home workouts, and we made them for people that don't necessarily always have access to a gym. They may not be able to get there every day, but they still want to work out, and they might be at home or in their garage or whatever's going on. They're crunched on time. They can say 3, 2, 1, go, and they can join us right then. What's even better is they're free on the Mayhem Athlete YouTube page. We have them there on purpose, so really anyone can get them at any time. But we're not going to cut any corners. You're coached by one of the best coaches in all of CrossFit, I promise, Josh Malone. You get to do them alongside some of our other fellow Mayhem athletes, of course, including our friend Phil.
Oh no, allow me.
Oh. Do the one. I just do the one.
I know, well, that's what the cool kids do.
That's what the cool kids do.
Have a great day, sir.
You're coming in here with us.
Text me if you need anything.
Philip is like one of the strongest people I've ever met, and he's very unassuming. He's like one of the kindest people that you'll ever meet. He'll say like I've done a lot for him, but he's done just as much for me. The relationship that I've got with him, and like being able to see like where he came from to like where he is now, is one of the coolest things that I've been able to experience in my coaching career.
Athletes, we are back.
Get the remote?
Yep.
Okay.
Philip is doing a modified bear hover hold position. We've got him in a down dog position with those alternating shoulder taps. Philip is down to his regular push-ups on the floor. And here we go. Look at that. No problem. He was actually mad when I made him do elevated push-ups, but I told him we would do regular ones at the end here. You're gonna try to reach for the moon, because even if you miss, you're gonna land among the stars. Look what I can do. That was it. He's like so smart and so witty, and it's like he'll like pop off with a joke that you're like, hold on a second, is that what you meant? Philip, give me a little brick hit to get the coin out for me. Let me see that. Yep, just there we go. And doesn't lose his stride at all. And he'll have that smile that he always does and like that little like laugh. Philip will have bad days like we all do.
People that know him a little bit better know that he's fighting these battles every day and he's going through it, and yet he still comes and, you know, comes here because I know this place, Mayhem alone, has helped him so much kind of break out of that darkness that he's had for a long time and how scared he was to just even be in public. And the coffee shop was kind of his safe place. And now we all go there just to hang out with him.
And I consider it an honor to like to be able to be on this journey with him. He's a staple, a rock, and a sign of like consistency wherever he goes. And I don't think he necessarily realizes that about himself.
You've had a lot of challenges in life. And from my perspective, it seems you've not really allowed them to define you. What do you think? Do you perceive yourself as an overcomer?
I mean, I try not to, I guess I'm nobody special, I guess.
Because like as a CrossFit Games athlete, does Phil inspire you in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's inspiring me because, you know, it's not everyone that is strong like that mentally, but Phil is doing it, so it's pretty impressive. What I'm doing, I consider like it's pretty cool, you know, like there's not a lot of people who go to games, but like watching a guy like Phil, I mean, in my values, it's really more impressive than what I'm doing. So I have a huge respect for that. And just seeing him, you know, here every day, works out hard, smiling all the time, like, you know, it's a big deal. Yeah, Phil's a great guy, I love him, and yeah, proud of him.
Everybody has, you know, bad times, and I'd like to see that I kind of learn from what's going on and slowly do better, but I'm not special. I mean, I'm not special in any way. It's just
he's definitely impacted me a lot more than I probably know.
He brings joy and happiness to, you know, everybody around him. He's definitely a guy that you look forward to when he's in class.
He's a rock solid person. He inspires me so much. And when I see he's here, just a wave of relief comes over.
I don't know how dark it's ever gotten for him, but it was pretty dark during that time that I first started being his friend and hanging out with him, and that really bonded us, and it led to a lot of growth for both of us. One of the coolest people you ever meet, but if he just can't get out of his own way sometimes, and it takes good friends, which he has here, to just give him that little kick.
People forget that Mayhem is a CrossFit affiliate. A lot of people show up and they're like, wow, there's members here. Wow, there's real people. I'm like, yes, yes. This is one of my main takeaways. When I was guilty. When I got here, I really suspected that Mayhem was just full of heavy hitters. You know, it was going to be in some way magically different than every other CrossFit affiliate that I've walked into. But the truth is that it's not. Telling this story is more important. I feel like it's more important than almost anything that we've done at Mayhem, because it is so Mayhem. The meat and potatoes, like the real stuff that we're doing here, the way that we're changing lives, is Phil's story.
CrossFit Mayhem to me is Phil. You know, we've had this just incredible evolution. When CrossFit Mayhem started, didn't really know anything about this, you know, the community aspect of it, because I'd never been to a CrossFit gym. And even though the community side wasn't a focus when we started, this community just kind of started to develop. My 3 goals were Darren to have a job, me not lose money, and the people of Cookeville to have a good place to do CrossFit. This gym is the complete identity of what Mayhem is, and that's, you know, our faith, family, fitness service. Like that's who we are and that's what we do. But without the community, it's nothing. You know, it's just another sport.
CrossFit Mayhem is like a big family. And with Philip, like everybody in the 2 p.m. class and everybody in this gym, they have the same type of mindset.
It's the connection that we get through suffering, feeling some type of accomplishment. It brings you closer together.
So when you walk into this place, not only are you here to improve yourself, but the people around you are here to improve you.
Like, that's what CrossFit is. And I think it's CrossFit Mayhem is just a small expression of what the greater CrossFit community is. Most of this wouldn't be where it is without people. There's such a human element to what we do. I've learned that you can change somebody's life by just having a conversation.
CrossFit has this amazing ability for creating patterns of success in life. I think that Phil is a better example of that than a CrossFit Games athlete.
They've seen some of my bad days, like really bad days with anxiety and depression, and they've seen my good days, and they've helped me out of those bad days, just either talking or just a workout, an extra workout or something, just keep me going in the right direction, feeling more like family. I mean, they're all, deep down good people. It just kind of flows out of them.
The fitness is just a part of what a CrossFit gym is.
Anything that he needs, I hope he knows it. We'll be there for him.
When I go to the gym regularly, I feel better. My mind's more focused. It's not as staticky, full of my own voice telling me how bad I am. It clears out a lot of that, clears a lot of the cobwebs and stuff, and just the static. And that gets me in there each day.
Him being able to express himself at the gym is probably the best stress reliever. I'm just glad that Philip's lot basically is shined to everybody else so they can see actually how Philip is.
Keep smiling, keep moving, and making it look easy when I know it's tough. But you don't realize what an impact you have on so many people, particularly my husband, but so many others that you may not be aware of.
On the surface level, Phil is the one who's being helped. But by showing up on a daily basis, the inspiration that came from Phil was tenfold. And you're hearing it time and again where people are actually pointing to him and they're saying, hey, no, that's the dude that's inspiring me. And it's not muscle-bound six-pack guy. And it's not CrossFit Games athlete. It's this dude who's made major changes in his life. And we've seen him come just light years from where he was through a really, what ultimately is a very simple process of just showing up and doing hard work.
Phil is one of those guys that you just could almost say, you could interchange Phil with, he is CrossFit Mayhem.
I mean, I look back and I have had some, trying times and stressed out times and stuff like that. And I'm still here. So I guess in that way, I'm an overcomer. It's just because you just get down to it where, like, if you want to see the next day, sometimes you just have to brace yourself and get through whatever storm you're going through at that time. I don't. It's just a t-shirt. I'm just spouting out the t-shirts now into the storm. But it is, because things are going to get bad, and everybody has, I've realized that everybody out there has bad times. You just have to get through, and hopefully you have like friends and family and stuff around you that can help you get through those times. You have to get through them or you just stop. Things just don't get any better by you stopping. Even if it's just a baby step some days it's so hard. All you can do is just keep on breathing. You just kind of have to just bear it. It's just something you have to do. Or like I said, you stop living, you stop being you. You can't look at what you're gonna do with your whole life all the time. Sometimes all you can do is just focus on what you're gonna do that day or what you're gonna do that moment and let that be enough.
I don't got anything else.
All right. Woo! How long was that? Was that like 3, 4, 6 hours? It's still light out. Oh my goodness, it's 7 o'clock.
Oh! Whoa, it was blurry. I need it in focus.
I used to be a fatal monster sleeping under my bed. Then I woke up and realized they were living inside my head. Whatever you do, just don't look down. You won't know what's out there if you don't find out. Good days start right now. Good days start right now. Good days start right now. 7 billion in the world, but nobody does it quite like you. Mona Lisa, you're a star. Let that spotlight shine on you. Adventure awaits. The time is now. You won't know what's out there if you don't find out. Go where you wanna go. See what you wanna see. Good days start right now. Do what you wanna do. Be who you wanna be. Good days start right now. Go where you wanna go. See what you wanna see. Good days start right now. Do what you wanna do. Be who you wanna be. Good days start right now.
They're blind.
Rich
No, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here without Rich. So.
Rich who? Rich who? What are you?
Some guy, I don't know.
It's like
one day. You're the new face of Mayhem, Philip. Mine's just like so.
No, we want to keep Mayhem going for a long time.
So like fully recovered.
Yeah, well.
This is
the new face.
It's still cold. Nothing can scare this man. He's right.